Hi, I'm Mike McGee, Content Manager at Course Report, where we help people find and choose the best courses to reach their career goals. Today, I'm joined by Ryan Oakes, a RapidAscent alum who completed the new career entry program and now works as a network engineer. Ryan transitioned into cybersecurity after a military career and experience as an IT administrator. He started with an apprenticeship and got his CompTIA Security Plus certification. So I have a lot of questions about what the RapidAscent program was like, how it prepared him for the job search, and hopefully he can share some advice for other career changers considering a path into cybersecurity. Welcome, Ryan.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. So, Ryan, what were you up to professionally before joining RapidAscent, and what initially sparked your interest into moving deeper into IT and cybersecurity?
So before Rapid Ascent, I was active duty military, and as an active duty military member, I was an Apache mechanic for the Army. With that, I also managed a server, a small network, and a handful of workstations, which kind of initially sparked my IT interests, and that's kind of where I got my background in IT administration.
So you came into RapidAscent with both military experience and time as an IT administrator. How does that background, translate into a cybersecurity career?
I think that background is a really good base, even if it's not military experience, just any sort of IT experience prior lays that base foundation for learning higher and elevated above that. The day to day for a sysadmin or a network admin, that information is invaluable directly into the cybersecurity world.
What stood out to you about RapidAscent's program compared to other training options you were considering? Were you able to use VA benefits for the tuition or any other features that were, appealing to you when deciding?
So when I learned about Rapid Ascent, they actually had a representative come down to a career transition program for leaving the military. And they compared themselves to quite a few other, or they were also talking with quite a few other courses at the time. And I did a little bit of research, and it seemed like Rapid Ascent had the best reviews out of everyone. That's kind of what launched my interest into it. I was able to use my VA benefits to pay for it. Yeah, it was an absolutely wonderful program.
Great, great to hear. So, what was your goal, when you started the program? Was it to get a job in cybersecurity, network engineering, something else?
The goal was to get into cybersecurity, but I think the farther you go into cybersecurity, the more you realize that the job section of this is so segmented. There's a million things you could be. So cybersecurity is one of them. You could be network security, you could be cloud security. And I think between those, when I got into the course, I originally thought I was going to do cybersecurity, and that's why I took the course. But as I continue through the course, I think I found myself more interested in network security. Because you make things work with a network hands on, and then you get to the point of securing it. It feels more rewarding to me than cybersecurity directly. But the course set me up for both, so I don't regret it in that aspect.
Thanks for that answer. I think that dovetails nicely into the next one of just kind of walking through what the new career entry program was like day to day. Who were your instructors, and, importantly, how did you actually learn to then figure out this is the path you wanted to go down?
Yeah, it's been a couple months, so don't quote me on the exact daily schedule because I know it evolves. But my main instructor was Sean Callanan. Absolutely fantastic man and a great instructor. I definitely learned from some of the best. And then I also had Chris, who did a lot of our hands-on labs, midday and later in the day. And then Sunny, as you know, who helped us with career searches.
That's awesome. One thing that seems different about Rapid Ascent is that you get to practice on a real cyber range. I don't know a lot about that, but since you went through the program, could you explain what a cyber range is?
Yeah, so I think, and this is key to Rapid Ascent, I don't see a lot of other programs doing this. A lot of them will send you to a third-party website. Don't get me wrong, we all use TryHackMe, and it's a great website. But Rapid Ascent did something special and set up their own cyber range. And a cyber range, really what they had set up was a couple really great servers that we could run VMs on and mock networks and completely simulate in a controlled environment. It was building up an entire business from the ground up with cybersecurity in mind. So we built the networks, we built the VMs that ran our Linux for our servers, we built the Windows VMs for our employees, and we secured it all. A lot of that using CIS benchmarking. So I think that's very unique to RapidAscent, and it was absolutely fantastic hands-on for both.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. How did Rapid Ascent's live fire simulations change how you think about cybersecurity compared to, purely theoretical learning?
It's such a segmented field, and we learn about them each individually because they have so much depth behind each one. You think about a network top to bottom, but you don't think about how the endpoint's going to use that network in an unpredictable way. We know the set standard rules that are given to us, but you never really think about the behavior that happens behind the scenes that isn't really intuitive. So with these cyber ranges, not only did we build this from the ground up, but we're setting up ports to open for server backtalk or channel backtalk that I wouldn't have even have thought about. We just know it needed a connection, but how deep did that connection need to be, and what all is getting used, and how do I secure that? So I think it really tied a bunch of those segmented compartments of information into a whole picture for us. And definitely the hands-on aspect was my best way to learn. So that started to really draw the whole program together.
So, based on, this hands-on learning, another way to get intensive hands-on experience is through an apprenticeship. So, did you do an apprenticeship through Rapid Ascent? Which parts of the apprenticeship had the biggest impact on your growth as a cybersecurity professional?
I think the way the course is laid out is the whole course is the apprenticeship. And I think it's more valuable than necessarily getting thrown in an environment where you're labeled an apprentice and no one's taking that time to care for you. I know they're updating some course material and things are changing currently, but the the amount of value that you're held at for the instructors. I mean, we're learning about this day to day. We're doing hands-on labs during the day. They're showing us what they're learning and how it all works together and teaching us. Some of us from the ground up. I had people in my cohort that, you know, no IT experience at all going into it. And by the end of it, they were ready to go.
That's really impressive. You also, during this time, earned your CompTIA Security Plus certification, and more of our course report readers are interested in these certifications. So, could you explain what that Sec Plus, certification is?
I think that Security Plus is the base certification for anything security, cybersecurity, anything DoD IT related requires that certification. It's definitely a must have, and I can't thank them enough. So the course wasn't built around, and like other courses I see are built around this, but this course was not built around just sending you off with a Sec Plus, right? So you can study for the test and you can test. And that's great, but that wasn't RapidAscent's focus. They taught you everything you needed to know and gave you a little bit of, hey, here's a study guide for the way CompTIA verbs it, but you had enough background knowledge just from the learning that you experienced during the course to go and pass that Sec Plus exam. So it wasn't just a handout here, study this, take Sec Plus. This course built the knowledge base so that you could test Sec Plus without the study guide.
After completing the program, how did you approach your job search? And what role did Rapid Ascent have in helping you land your current position? So just kind of walk through that job search process and any tips for future boot campers as they're going through their job search.
Yeah, I think coming in it with a little bit of prior experience and a little bit of knowledge definitely helped. And the job search during the course, we had Sunny, and Sunny is our career representative. She helped us tirelessly with writing our resumes, getting us up to speed on what the job market is like. Because the last time I was hired on was 10 years ago, prior to my Army experience, the job market had definitely changed, and she helped walk us all through that. She also brought in SMEs every Friday, so subject matter experts every Friday, and we got to speak with people directly in the industry. We actually got to talk to them, interact with them. They were not just a pre-recorded speech. We had real life connections made just from those conversations we had during those sessions, and that definitely helped launch me out at a higher level than when I started. Coming in IT administrator, leaving tier 2 network engineer is a huge leap. And that Sunny was absolutely invaluable to that and that whole side of the program. And then shout out to my instructor Sean for getting me the knowledge base to interview through these without too much issue. He really set us up.
That's great to have that support from the education to career services to help you acquire these skills in a pretty short amount of time, but also to be able to put this work in the different areas to land this job there. So while you were going through the job search process, kind of looking back on it, was there a specific project or a skill that you worked on at RapidAscent that came up in interviews or helped you stand out to employers?
Yeah, and don't overlook it. If you're going through this course, the Python programming language that we learned during the course was the selling point. The end selling point for the job I did secure is they wanted to see Python. I had no prior Python experience. And that project with Chris was incredibly valuable for that.
All right, score one for Python and Rapid Ascent featuring it in the program. Okay, so now you're working as a network engineer, managing DoD networks. What does a network engineer do? Like, how does your current role connect back to the skills you built during your time at Rapid Ascent?
Well, I think to define network engineer is a little bit interesting because it depends on the job posting that you look at. What people say is a network admin versus network engineer definitely gets into muddy water territory. But I would say that the network engineer for most organizations, so you have your network admin that'll take care of your basic requirements and they'll create a ticket usually to send to a higher echelon to actually do major config changes or something in the network has to physically change. And the network engineer would be who receives that ticket and does the config changes or major changes to the network or writing higher policy.
Love the weaving there of the different paths that a network engineer can go on. Like you said during this interview, there's this field of cybersecurity and IT that is so many paths, so many individual paths you can go down there. So, all right, final question. For veterans or career changers considering Rapid Ascent today, what advice would you give to make the most of the program and prepare for a successful transition into cybersecurity? Like anything you would have changed or done differently? What do you have for people listening and curious about taking a similar path as you?
Yeah, I think the way the program is designed, anybody can walk in and get something out of this program. I would not hesitate to do this program again, a second time even. It's just incredibly deep. Take as detailed notes as you can, and just go for it. I can't speak enough good things about this program.
Great, great. I love the advice of like, this was transformative for me. You should do it. Simple as that. Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. Well, Ryan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much sharing your experience here and your decision to take this leap and to bet on yourself. And now you have an amazing new career path for that work that you put in and the support that Rapid Ascent has given you. So thanks again for joining and sharing your story. You can read Rapid Ascent reviews on Course Report. This interview was produced by the Course Report team in partnership with Rapid Ascent. Thank you for your time.
thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the chance to speak on this program.